Hello, 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 IG Live. I am here at exactly 12 noon on this beautiful Tuesday, just like I said I would be. And I'm just refilling my coffee because I like to get cozy with you all and lighting some smoke, some incense to kind of clear the air, clear the energy, but also to uplift myself. I like to use scents that are just very uplifting, very joyous for me. And I'm coming to you in my pajamas, no makeup on, just a little bit of greasy shine because we keep it real on this platform. Anyway, enough with the jokes. I'm gonna finish making this cup and then we'll go upstairs to do the reading. Because I know you guys love to be nosy, I'll face you to something that's not worth you being nosy about. Boom! Okay. All right, I'm back. When I say nosy, I meant about my house. Because I could be anywhere. Anyway, let me see if I can get my hands on everything I'm trying to take where I'm going. You know, I feel like that's pretty standard to want to be able to carry your stuff upstairs. I might have to take a few trips now that I'm actually sitting here thinking about it. Grab my water, grab my oatmeal pie that I said I was gonna bring with me. And I'll do that. We'll head on upstairs while everybody else is waiting to be present. How about that? I might have to take a few trips. Let's see what we can do. I might have to take a few trips. I might have to take a few trips. Okay. Placing my script on the ground that I was working on. Because yes, I am still an actor, you guys. I'm actually quite busy and quite successful. Anyway, children, darlings, place your incense right there. Place my water right there. You know what? I like to be able to see this and that in the same frame. My workspace is becoming cluttered because that is what happens. The busier you are, the more cluttered your workspace tends to become. So I'm just kind of moving some things around for you guys, but mostly for myself. I'm going to set up your tripod, go downstairs, grab my cup, and be right back. Hopefully, by the time I come back, we'll have more people who tuned in to the live. I know there's some people at work. I know there's some people at school. So they may not be able to tune in right away. But we're here. We are here and we are here together. All right, let me get my tripod ready for you guys. One of my favorite toys is this tripod because it just makes things simpler. All right, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Gotta grab my cards for you guys. Boom. right, just had to close the door to make sure we were all cozy up in here, because last thing I need is for somebody to jump on in the middle of my reading and completely fudge it up. See if I can find somewhere to place this cup. I only have so much space now, do I? We crack a window. Having fresh air is important. Ooh, Lordy. Ooh, Lordy. Hello, hello. Now that we are all set up and comfortable, hopefully, let's get into it. I'm going to introduce you to the cards and to the decks I usually use for the collective conscience. I have different decks for different purposes. I do not use everything for everything. I just don't. Each tool has its own purpose. So I tend to operate accordingly. And it's just simpler that way, right? No mixing and matching. I love this when I'm reading either for myself or a client or for the collective. It's really tapped into what's happening globally. So this is the Dakini Oracle Tantric deck. I'm probably mispronouncing that. It does come with a book that helps you decipher everything, but it has beautiful imagery. I'm gonna give those a bit of a smoke cleanse right now. Set those to the side. Then we have the Affirmations Tarot with all the animal pictures on them. I love this. I only use this for clients and for the collective conscience. It is so beautiful, and I don't even use it for myself. I use it for others. If you've been with me on the platform for a long time, then you understand that I've stopped doing readings with clients because there are a lot of people on the internet who are impersonating other readers and trying to scam clients. And if you know me, you know I'm never gonna randomly drop in your DMs asking for money. That's just not who I am. I don't need to do that for money. Now, if you book an appointment with me, you know, of course, that's a business exchange, right? But yeah, what these scam artists were doing is completely different. And I just didn't want to be next, you know what I'm saying? So I ended up closing my shop. And every now and then I will prophesy or intercede as a medium for someone, and I'll just do that for free at that point. Usually spur of the moment, if I really feel called to, but mostly not. I tend to respect people's privacy, and just if I pick up on something or I mention it or like I notice it, I won't mention it. That's how you develop boundaries, and that's how you keep a balance. So we've got this beautiful imagery. Now you may be wondering, why am I showing you both sides of the cards? I do that so, you know, if I had a client person, I'd probably hand them these cards. Just for a while, just to hold, not to shuffle, just to hold, and then I'd take them back. But they definitely don't need to. And I haven't like I said, I haven't taken a client in person in a while, and I haven't taken a client via the phone in a while either, because I've quote unquote closed my shop. But you can capture collective, you can see collective conscious readings, you know, on IG Live, on my YouTube, but especially on my Patreon. If they don't make it anywhere else, they will definitely be on my Patreon. In fact, there's stuff that's only on my Patreon. Like 90% of what is on my Patreon is only on my Patreon. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. You don't want to miss out. All right, then we're going to have the Brahata Major Arcana Tarot. This is my Indian tarot, which I love. If you don't know, I am Indian. Not a quarter, not an eighth, half. I have a whole parent who's from a different country, and they have beautiful imagery. I also use this to get global themes. So I have a few cards that I've dedicated to the globe. That's how I do that. And then, of course, Osho, who loves guests and visitors. They're so happy. My Osho Zen Tarot. A few other priestess and practitioners that I'm aware of out here in the space use this deck. I love this deck. This was gifted to me 2 or 3 Decembers ago. I want to say it was like 2 Decembers ago. I don't know. It's a lovely deck. It loves guests. It's very sensitive. And the cards are just so lovely. Look at that gorgeous imagery. And they're quite to the point. They're quite self-explanatory. So the only traditional like Rider-Waite type tarot that we're going to be using is this deck. And then everything else, oh, this deck and this one. Everything else is pretty much, you know, it's pretty much a different artistic interpretation, but not the traditional suits. Although I know some people love the traditional suits. I love the traditional suits. But when we're talking to a collective, it may not speak to everyone. Before we get into it, I usually save the cards for last. I just want to say hello, hi, if you're just joining. I'm doing a collective conscious reading for Sagittarius season. I know we're like in the middle of it. It's been, what, roughly 5 days? It's been like a week, and we've been in it for a while now, and I haven't said anything, so now I'm saying something. It's also just an update. It's the end of the year. It's December, and people want to know what the hell is going on in the last little chunk of December. I do want to talk about how we got to this point. I do want to start talking about Sagittarius. So if you're not into astrology, I don't know what to tell you. If you're not into tarot, I don't know what to tell you. But that is what we're talking about today. And if you're here to stay and you're curious, welcome to the IG Live. And if you are one of my patron subscribers on my Patreon, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Your support allows artists and other creative people like me to continue to do what we do. We're going to do it whether you support us or not, but you help us to do it with ease because we're supported. And if you don't have a snack or a beverage, if you're on your lunch break, if you are on the toilet, plug me in, tune out. Take a sip. I'm drinking coffee. Whew. It's very heavy. A lot of people are coming to me with chaos and like anxiety, and I can immediately feel that right now. And I just want to say this is a safe place. I'm not here to like curse you, hex you, or put you in danger. I'm just here to relay a message that may or may not be relevant. If it's not relevant to you, if you don't seem to connect with what I'm saying, leave it at the table. Treat it like a buffet. There's some stuff you're going to eat at the buffet, and there's some stuff you're not. And maybe you come back for seconds, and that's cool too. That's your prerogative. Whew. Okay, so let's get into it. So Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter, which is all about expansion, right? We're also heading into eclipse season, which can feel like chaos, but Sagittarius tends to thrive in chaos. Now, not all of us have Sagittarius placements. Not all of us have fire placements in our chart. And for some people, that may mean nothing to them. They're like, I don't care, that means nothing to me. What the F is going on? What's up with this chaos? Because I feel like a lot of people have encountered chaos lately, whether they've been sitting there eating their popcorn and watching the chaos unfold, or they have been an active participant or randomly thrown in the middle of it. I'm here to tell you, yes, it is in the air, or rather in the atmosphere, if you will. And it's not just in your head. People are going through it right now. If you're feeling uneasy or woozy right now, this is your call to rest, to take a step back, take a deep breath, and reassess the whole game. And if you find yourself being sucked into the drama, either you have two choices here. Actually, you have many choices here, but the two that are being presented to you first are you can either embrace it, or you can take a step back and have some boundaries and really protect yourself. We have a couple jumpers right off the back from the Affirmations Tarot. We have the World card in reverse, which I'm going to show you. Gorgeous, gorgeous card. I love the artwork with this deck. I think you can find this deck online. I actually found it at a bookstore on complete accident. I was not looking for cards that day. This is what the back looks like. So gorgeous. You got the world card that came out. I had 3 jumpers. I was just mindlessly shuffling for you, and it came in reverse. Then we have the sun, which I want to show you. Very gorgeous artwork. And of course, this one also came out in reverse. Sorry to tell you. And then we also have Judgment, another gorgeous card. Very beautiful. It's interesting because I have another deck that is almost the exact same imagery. And then this one also came out in reverse. So let's talk about it. Some people don't read reversals. I want to talk about it. So we've got the World card, which is usually a representation of harmony, cycles, things coming together, things feeling tied up. And when it's in reverse, it's all about loose ends. It's all about disarray, the chaos, what was left unattended, what pot was left boiling over. So like I said at the beginning of this video, a lot of us may be tapping into a sense of feeling like we're stuck in chaos. So this came out right when I was talking about that. I'm going to move on to the Sun. The Sun in reverse reminds us to rest. It reminds us to recharge. It reminds us to regain a sense of self. There are a lot of us who work very, very hard, whether people realize we work that hard or not, or whether people realize what our grind actually entails. And we give a lot to others. We pour out our cups, we pour out our wells for others so often. It may feel like you have something to prove. It may feel like you're going through battles nobody knows about. And this is our reminder to say, hey, do something for you. Take a moment to sit back. Take a moment to feed your soul. Take a moment to recharge, because the Sun upright is all about childlike joy. It's all about success and reaping rewards. And when we see this in reverse, this is a spotlighting moment like, hey, you have allowed this chaos to drain you, whether you realize it or not. Or maybe the chaos is a manifestation of you feeling out of control. And what often makes us feel unhinged is not being able to collect ourselves and retreat and go back to the self. Now, Judgment reverse usually spotlights this concept of not seeing something clearly, of misjudging something, but also feeling you're at the hand of something that's unjust, or a question that's answered with more questions. So when I have all three of these coming out all together, and I'll show you the spread. Of course, it's gonna look upright to you, but it came out to me in reverse. So this is what it looks like to me. Looks like it's in reverse. We also have 21, 19, and 20. These are exactly in order. I have been shuffling this deck so much. The fact that these are coming together with synchronicity is so just insane. But seeing them in reverse kind of tells me exactly what I said at the opening of this video. A lot of us have been thrown into chaotic situations that are either exciting, freeing, or just chaotic. And this is our call to retreat to the self and give us what we need, and maybe refocus. Maybe there's a talent or a gift or a hobby you have put to the side to go to school or to go to work or to build up your finances, or maybe there is a gift that you've kind of put on the back burner or that you've been hiding. And I've been told this many a time, don't get too comfortable hiding your gifts. I even made a whole video about it. It is on my YouTube. It's also on my Patreon. I've made it public to both platforms because I feel like we really need to hear this right now. Do not get too comfortable hiding your gifts. Let's get more specific. I'm pulling out the Osho Zen Tarot. Actually, before I do the Osho Zen, let's talk about more global ideas. Because some of us, before we want to talk about ourselves, we want to go outward first, and the first thing we want to do is look at everybody else and say, well, what's wrong with them? How can I stop so-and-so from doing this and saying that? I'm telling you now, there's this false teaching of, oh, you teach people how to treat you. You don't. You don't. You can have boundaries and you can set standards, but at the end of the day, if someone has actively chosen to behave a certain way with you, around you, and in exchange with you, they have made their own choice. So now the choice you have is, what are you going to do to keep yourself safe? What are you going to do to protect that love, to protect that thing you've been cultivating for yourself that you've so graciously decided to share with someone else? Because at the end of the day, they can very well say, okay, yeah, in your face, and then go around and do that bad thing right all over again. We have the Wheel of Fortune upright, Strength card, and Judgment in reverse again. not us getting the same cards over and over again. We literally got Judgment in reverse again. And it came out just like this. So I'm telling you, as a collective conscience all around the world, we are being sent into, like, it's hard to focus. It's hard to concentrate. It's hard for us to stay on top of it. If you just feel like a hot mess, express right now. You are not the only one. No, you are not a hot mess. Or maybe you feel like you've got your shit together and you're so perfect. Congratulations. That's great. It's definitely not everybody. Then we have the Lovers in reverse. We have Strength upright. I love this card. There's always a lion featured on Strength. We have the Page of Wands. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is such great news. This is such great news. Let's touch on the Lovers in reverse. Yes, this is everything we just talked about. We got Judgment twice and the Lovers in reverse, which is all about self-love, self-care, returning to the self, retreating to the self, understanding that if you're having a hard time in partnerships or relationships right now, you cannot control other people. You can only make choices for yourself. You can only choose how you're going to act, and you can set as many boundaries as you want. But if someone is actively choosing to not respect your boundaries, what are you going to do? Are you going to blame yourself? Are you going to beat yourself up based off of what someone else did? Or are you going to take time to do the healing, to comfort yourself, to heal yourself up, to journal, to talk about it, to rest when you need rest? So this is just reaffirming that, because I'm not the only one experiencing that. Everyone is experiencing that. It is Sagittarius season, and Sagittarius is very much the energy of, I want to go out and explore and be an adventurer and do my own thing, right? You may find a Sagittarius who doesn't want to stick to one thing for very long. They don't want to commit to one thing for very long. They're always out for the next adventure. They're always out trying to explore the next thing. And ultimately, they don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. They just don't give a fuck. And you can embrace that and be on that same wavelength and be like, you know what? I don't give a fuck either. Or you can be hurt and you can be in shambles over this free-flowing, fiery sign that truly just doesn't give a fuck. And that may also mean you. They may not give a fuck about you, or maybe they do, but not in the way that you want them to. And you've got some choices here. You can ride the wave of traffic and you can go with the flow of traffic, or you could pet against the grain and wonder why it hurts your hand, you know? Maybe that analogy makes sense, maybe it doesn't. The good news is this. You've got Strength in reverse. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We got the Page of Wands. We have Strength upright, excuse me. Let's talk about the Page of Wands. We often see our wands like ideas. This is also very phallic energy, so this might be good news for someone, right? Maybe they're going to get lucky later, but I digress. Page of Wands always talks about an exploration. This is very much the upside of Sagittarius season. I'm not saying start a bunch of new businesses right now because it's also eclipse season, but this is an idea to come up with. This is a good time to come up with your new ideas, right? To come back to the self, to say, well, what do I need? What do I want? And the Wheel of Fortune is often seen like the lucky star or the wish card, right? You see this in tarot and it's upright. Basically like this. If you see the Wheel of Fortune upright, it's asking the question, are you the kind of person where life happens to you, or do you happen to it? Do you happen to it, or does it happen to you? When you see it upright, you have the power to turn it around and say, instead of taking the storyline of the victim, and this isn't me denying that there are things that have happened to people and they very much were the victim in that situation, but you have you can be the victor. You can go from victim to victor, right? That sounds really corny. Please follow me. Like, please follow what I'm saying. Also, this is a great time to come up with those weird, kooky ideas. Not necessarily to act on them just yet, but develop them. Go on your own. When you are retreating and you are revitalizing yourself and trying to strengthen up yourself after being beaten down by the absolute clusterfuck of chaos throughout the week, come back to yourself, write that stuff down, and embrace what you have going on. This is a very auspicious time for a lot of people. And for some people, it feels like bad luck. But it's all a matter of perspective. Yes, there are things going on that are just not great. But like I said, you could get to control what you get to do about it. And this is my deck that I use to the Global Collective. So this might be stuff that you're noticing at school, at work, relationships with other people, maybe just in your own personal household. But this deck specifically touches on the global. We're going to get back to the self very soon. I want to pull out the Osho Zen Tarot after I take a sip of my coffee. I'm speaking pretty fast because I just don't want to spend too much time here. I understand there are people with very large attention spans, and then there are some that just don't have that. It's totally fine. In the world of TikTok, in the world of the Vine and Snapchat and Reels, you know, videos that are 30 seconds or less, I can understand why I might need to talk a little faster for people. Ooh, Osho Zen really came through with the call out cards. Hello, Osho. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. We have this card. I love this card. This is akin to the Two of Swords in traditional tarot, but in Osho Zen it is labeled schizophrenia. As you can see, there is someone stuck between literally a rock and a hard place. And they're looking down, they're seeing the empty abyss, but there's literally two different hunks of land they could be on. Like I said, at this point in your life, it's kind of all about decisions. Think about it like this. If you are on a crew on a ship, like a pirate ship, imagine all suddenly you're not the person who's like mopping and cleaning up the boat. Now all suddenly you get to be the captain. You get to make choices. But it comes to you during a time of disaster. So we're being called to just simply exist in the moment, embrace the chaos, recharge and renew ourselves, literally look up at the stars, literally take some time to be on your own and reflect. Come up with your crazy new ideas, your new visions. Dance, sing, collect yourself, refuel and feed yourself, feed your soul. For some people that's working out, for some people that's listening to their favorite playlist, for some people that's screaming in their car on the way home because they just need to let it out. And they may not live in a situation where they can do that in their house. And then ride the wave of chaos, like literally trust it, because for a lot of us, this is a very auspicious time. It's a lucky time and we just don't know it yet. And then for some of us, you have to give yourself the freedom of not knowing. You have to give yourself the freedom of not being able to control the outcome. You're like, I'm on this fast ride. I don't know where it's going. I don't understand what all these bumps are on this fast ride, but I'm on it. And it's low-key kind of a whole vibe. Like if I embrace this, you know, I don't know what's at the end of this journey, but if I embrace how it is in the meantime, at least I had a good time. And that's very much the energy of Sagittarius. I'll tell you personally, I've actually been doing a pretty good job there. Scorpio season, and I am a Scorpio, but Scorpio season was very, very, very tumultuous, but also just very heavy. It tends to be. There was a lot of uprooting, a lot of changes, a lot of hard truths and revelations that came to the surface. And by the time I got to Sagittarius season, I realized I had a choice to make. I could choose to literally stop giving a fuck about certain things and allow myself the freedom to grow and to heal, separate from the concerns of whether or not other people were okay with it. Or I could stay in this pattern of feeling responsible to quote unquote fix it all the time, you know, to do the right thing. You can only put all your effort to being right into doing, and when I say being right, I don't mean winning arguments. I mean doing what society has told you, do the right thing, do the right thing. But often we do the right thing and we sacrifice ourselves. And it's like, you can live like that, but you'll be living in bondage. And as soon as I kind of turned away and I said, you know what, bump that noise. Every time I choose everyone else and I put myself last, I'm destroying myself. And I'm young and I'm healthy and I'm creative. And God gave me all these gifts and all these blessings, and I'm not using them because I'm trying to make other people happy who have made up their mind to not be happy. right? They've already decided it's never going to happen for them. Misery is their fate. It is what it is. What does that have to do with me? What can I actually do to stop that? I'm not their God. I can't control that. And it's exactly right. Okay, we have 49, cutting through. Wave of bliss. I love how that came out in reverse. Third card before I wrap up this collective conscious reading. We have 2 that came out. Back of the deck energy. The red rose garden. I love this. This is such sweetness. Such sweetness. We've got choices here. So we have cutting through. A hand holding the rope. 2 hands in the air that have decided we are free from that while the other one's still holding on. It's exactly what I said. What are you not letting go of? What battle have you been fighting all year? It's the end of the year. You still fighting? You still doing that ish? Let go of it. This is your sign to drop it completely. Throw your hands in the air and say, God, universe, fate, luck, whatever it is you believe in. Even if all you believe is in yourself, talk to yourself. Be like, hello, self. Hey, let's have a conference. Here's a problem we've been going in circles over for like almost a whole year. Yeah, I think I'm gonna forfeit the race and choose to do my own thing. Bump this marathon. I'm gonna hop in my car. I'm gonna drive down the street. I'm gonna get a beer, a delicious lunch. Then I'm gonna head home, get a shower, and I might go to sleep and sleep for a few days, or I might come outside and have some fun. I haven't decided yet, but what I have decided is I'm tired of running this race. I release this burden. Allow yourself the freedom of not knowing, and allow yourself the freedom of not being responsible for the outcome. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride. Do not worry about where it's going, because at this point, it's the end of the year. If we don't know, we don't know. Wave of bliss, 42. The fact that my cards are all coming out in order after I've shuffled them a bunch of times is kind of crazy. Wave of bliss. Now this came out in reverse. Let me tell you what I just picked up. Immediately I had the sense of revelation picking up this card because it came out in reverse, and I'm showing it to you upright. The water and the element of cups in tarot usually represents your heart. The concerns of your heart, your woes, your worries. Here's what I have to say about that. The more you pour out your soul and your heart for everything else and set for yourself and your true passions, the more you delay your bliss. There is something that can be so savored and so cherished and so enjoyed, like a lottery winning. Your bit of good luck, but you postpone yourself from reaping the rewards of that and truly enjoying that every time you waste your breath and your time and your sad and your sorrows on this thing that you need to cut cords with and let go of. It can be as simple as choosing not to engage in a certain conflict. You see it arrive, you take a deep breath, and you say, I'm gonna walk outside right now. I literally have been walking out of my home, down the street, and sitting on a bench, a place I call my favorite thinking spot, to just see the wind pass. Even if I'm out there for only 5 minutes, and I breathe, and I take my time, and I walk right back. And I do that. It has nothing to do with, oh, I got in a fight and now I have to walk outside. It's literally just me starting the day off with that 5 minutes to, 1, see how hot / cold it is outside. 2, feel how fresh that air is as opposed to the air in my home. If you cook, you know what I'm talking about. But also to think, to contemplate, to meditate, to not have the pressure or expectation to do anything, and to stop pouring your shit out for everyone. Fill yourself back up. I'm an actor, so for me, sometimes I'm asked to cry for a script. Sometimes I'm asked to come from this deep, heavy well of emotion and use those feelings to paint a canvas, to paint a picture, to tell a story. But this is my catalyst. This is my paintbrush. Me, the physical person. How am I going to do that if I'm fighting and I'm arguing and I'm crying with real people in my real life, by the time I get to that script, I'm exhausted, I'm spent, I have nothing left. And I'm just calling myself out here. This is our call to reassess what we are wasting our time, our energy, and our emotions on, and to just ride the wave. Literally ride the wave of bliss. I was at work the other day. I have a side hustle, as many people do. It is the holidays. And we were in an environment where everything that could go wrong, all went wrong at one time. If you know that song, you know what I'm talking about. All these things were going wrong. It was becoming low-key kind of dangerous, and they just asked us to leave. They're like, yeah, everybody clock out and leave. This is becoming very dangerous. And I'm like, okay. Instead of putting up a big fuss over losing that 10 minutes of work, some people put up a big fuss. They're like, well, if I just stand here, can I just stand by the exit and get my extra 10 minutes? I was like, no. Boop, swiped my card, went in my car, and left. Because if there's danger, if there's explosions, guess what I'm not going to do? Stick around to make sure everybody else is all right when I only came there with the expectations for myself. A lot of people want to be the hero. We are not being called to be the hero right now. Like, save yourself right now. If everybody saved themselves, we'd all be saved from the explosion. There wasn't an explosion at my job. I'm just using that as an example. There was chaos, and they did ask us to leave. And I thought that was very interesting. Everybody was safe. Everyone ended up like, we're okay. But just think about it. How do we put up a front and put up a fight? It could have been worse. We were in like this industrial, I'll drop some hints. I was in a very industrial environment where people are required to wear steel-toed shoes, hard hats, and safety vests, gloves, and goggles. So yeah, when there's a big alarm that's sounding off and saying, hey, hit the exit, hit the exit. Don't worry about your pay just yet. Get the F out of there. Save yourself. What will the money matter if you are not alive, dude? All right, I'm coming to a conclusion. If you've been hearing the song and you're sticking till the end, you are a champion. Thank you for getting the complete and free message. You know, other people used to have to pay for this. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not. This is the truth. The last laugh / the future. And there's a key. No, there's an axe. I use both my eyes to look at this. Look at this. It's literally a galaxy. Someone's laughing. Who's getting the final chop? I'm telling you, take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to be okay. It is the winter. The winter card in another one of my decks I use personally for myself talks about taking care of your needs. You are not wrong for this. If you believe in karma, then you know what I mean. If you believe in God, then you know what I mean. And if you don't, you probably still know what I mean. It is not for you to have the last laugh. Things will be sorted out and things will work out. You don't have to be the person to sit there and level with everybody and make it work out. I always say this, when somebody's really fighting with me, and I usually, if I'm feeling like it's worth it, sometimes I won't say anything, but I've really gotten to a point in my life where if somebody's really, or even a scenario, even if it's not someone coming at me with a conflict 101, even if it's just a situation, a hardship, I say, you know what? God sees everything and he will work it out. He will settle the bet. He will make these odds even. He will have the last laugh. So if so-and-so did you wrong, or if a circumstance you feel wronged by it, remember we have that Wheel of Fortune card up, right? It will all come full circle. It will literally come full circle. The odds will be balanced out and it will be in your favor if you choose to stop pouring your shit out and ride the wave instead. Literally, you could be drowning or you could be surfing in this chaos because we are in eclipse season and we are in Sagittarius season. I'm mad I pulled from 4 decks and all 4 of the decks are basically saying the same thing. And this is like a random card pull. I'm not orchestrating this. This was not planned. This is on live, for crying out loud. And then we have Earthbound 21. I love this. I love this card. Get grounded. Take a deep breath. Go outside. Get in nature. If you're hungry, eat. If you're sleepy, sleep. If you have not bathed in a few days, please do that. If your hair is dirty and needs to wash your hair, please do that. Take that time for yourself. But this is a beautiful, harmonious card. This is about restoring the balance. And so is this. This is about restoring the balance in a way of karma or justice. This is about restoring the balance in a way of yourself. You can heal through this process, believe it or not. While standing in this burning building that is Sagittarius season, you can feel warmed by it. You can feel restored. You can feel like a golden, crispy ass donut. You can feel better. Look how glorious this is. And notice how we're shown the surface of a planetary mass, and then we're shown stepping outside of it and being completely whole. There are a lot of things we think we need to be a part of in order to experience. There are a lot of things we think we need to engage in, we think we're responsible for, that we're simply not. And Sagittarius season really calls us to literally steer our own ship and reassess what we are actually responsible for. We are responsible for ourselves. Not for all this, not for all the chaos happening around us, but for ourselves. Turn into yourself, take care of yourself, take the time you need. Don't hide your gifts. Don't hide your passions. Don't stick those in a corner or in a box of your closet or under your bed because you think, well, I have to get on my grind. I have to put myself last right now. Do not put yourself last right now. We are literally coming through the holidays. Celebrate yourself. Validate yourself. That is all I have to say for this. I am going to clear the air and refresh the energy, smoke cleanse myself, etc. I hope you all are having a great week. I hope you are feeling loved and restored. I hope you are providing yourself that, because you do possess the power to provide that for yourself. You do not have to rely on others to have that, although it is also great if others are sharing that with you. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you, who knows when I'll see you again. I just started doing collective conscious readings again after taking a very big hiatus. And if you have missed this message and you're tuning in late and you haven't seen all of it, it will be featured on my Patreon. That is Reika's Random on patreon.com. The link is in my bio. The link is also in my IG story. You can copy and paste it in your search engine and then subscribe. The most basic subscription I think is like $5 a month. I don't just talk about spiritual stuff. I talk about art. I share behind the scenes stuff about my acting job. I also get to show you works in progress. So you get to see not just the before and after, but the in between, which I feel like we don't really talk about here on the internet. And I think that's way more helpful than just showing two sides of the coin, but not any of the in between. Because at the end of the day, we want to see the progress report. We want to see you find your way to the finish line, if you will. Also, I feel like there's someone out here who's dealing with heartache or grief and who's questioning their support system. I want to let you know you are being supported and you are being guided and protected in the spiritual realm through your ancestors, through your guides, through your angels. I'm also being called to tell someone to step up their protective game. You can protect yourself and protect your energy simply by sustaining your own emotional and mental well-being. So if that means seeing a counselor, if that means taking that time out for you, that actually creates a protective barrier around you. We often talk about protection and we think it means putting the evil eye up everywhere, anointing everything in oil, dusting salt everywhere, doing all this very drastic stuff. And yes, that can help and that can help you. But if you are at the risk of your own mind, then you're not safe from the inside. The danger has met you there. You're being attacked from the inside. So really cleanse yourself of that. Take a hot shower or a bath if you have the luxury and the privilege to be able to have hot water running through your home. It's not everybody, but if it's you, embrace that privilege and collect yourself. Come back to the self and renew your soul, renew your spirit. And for some people, that's not going through escapism and playing a video game or scrolling through Instagram. It's actually taking that time with yourself, and that can be really hard and really scary because a lot of people don't want to do that. They're afraid of what they'll find there if they are just stuck with them in their mind. But allow yourself the freedom to Be openly honest and vulnerable with yourself. If you need to cry, if you need to sing, if you need to dance, or if you simply just need to breathe, allow yourself the freedom of doing so. It's so restorative, it's so healing, and the way it uplifts you, the way it kind of resets you and orients yourself. If you've ever oriented a smartboard, you know what I'm talking about, how you really just connect those dots and you bring yourself back to neutral. That can be its own type of protection. And if there's a God you serve, talk to your God. If there are friends and family that aren't here on earth with us anymore, maybe they're departed, maybe they've passed away, use this time to also connect to them. Everyone likes to do it on Dia de los Muertos, but you can connect to them at any time. If you're missing them, you can simply talk to them. Go to a place that you guys both loved. You know, rewrite the narrative. And if you need to cry about it, cry about it. If you want to write them a letter and then just close it up, you can do that. If you want to just play their favorite song and jam out and have that moment, have that moment. Allow yourself the time and the moments to give yourself what you need. Eat, you know, like sometimes you just want to eat junk food, but you need that like for your heart. And a lot of times we treat grief like emotional junk food, like it's something we're not allowed to have and that it's unhealthy for us. But it's the holiday season. A lot of us are missing our parents or our best friends, myself included. If you need to go where you know you can see them, if you need to be near them in any capacity, it's okay to do that. It's not going to hurt you. You're not going to be sucked down into this deep pit that you'll never be taken out of, because I know that's a big fear. People don't even want to think about it because they're afraid that if they go there, they'll never come back. I'm telling you, it's okay. Maybe you just need someone to say it's going to be okay. You can go there, you can allow yourself to feel so that you can heal. The idea is to allow yourself to feel the garbage. Feel it. Allow it to have its moment. And then release the expectation of knowing what the hell that means and continuing to live anyway. A lot of grief is about feeling the pain and then living anyway. Saying, you know what, I'm going to live anyway because I'm here. And I think that's what I want to do. Regardless of whether you think your departed loved one wanted that for you, want it for yourself. Say, yes, today I feel feelings and I don't understand, but I'm alive. So that's what I'm doing today. That's my choice. It's all about making choices. It really comes down to that. At the end of the day, that's all you can do is continue to choose to live every day, even when it's really hard and you really don't want to. I feel really called to say that. I don't know who needed to hear that. Maybe it was just me. But I wish you well. I love you all so much. And I hope you're having a great winter, a great Sagittarius season, an amazing holidays season. Happy Diwali to all the people who I missed saying that to. Happy Hanukkah for all the people I've missed saying that to. Merry Christmas. Merry Kwanzaa. Merry all these other holidays that I just don't know enough about to mention right now. Happy winter solstice. Happy Yule, in case I don't get a chance to say that to you when the time comes. I wish you well, and I'm signing off. If you missed this, again, you can go to my Patreon.